Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lexi and today I'm showing you my current go-to makeup look. So if you want to see how I created this, keep on watching. I'm so sorry, I'm still a little sick, so I'm a bit nasally right now, but you're here for the makeup. I already primed my skin with my skincare. However, I've been picking up a few tips and tricks which I feel like have really elevated how my makeup looks, as well as the longevity for the day. Primarily, I feel the biggest game changer has been incorporating a color corrector. I have not been sleeping well. I don't know what it is, something in the air, but I have very dramatic circles and concealer has not been cutting it. So I've been using the NYX color correcting palette and primarily using like that peach and green shade. If you have this palette, let me know if the formulas feel different, because the peach one is the only one where it's like very soft and emollient and I'm able to work with, whereas the others feel very waxy and firm, but still useful. Just something I noticed. This has really been helpful in not only targeting areas, but having to use less foundation and concealer afterwards. Next up for my base, I am using my Maybelline Fitme matte foundation. This one is still serving me. It is doing great. So I've been loving using it this way, where I use a little spatula to do thin layers and then blending it out with a sponge. So close to finishing it. I don't know if I would repurchase it right away, but it is one that has done the job for over a year now, so I really enjoy that foundation. And this is another tip that I picked up, that using a little spatula to do really thin layers of the foundation just makes it look so much better. I'd rather blend out like 2 to 3 layers than do one thick layer. It always looks better doing it this way, and I've just completely changed how I do my makeup now. For concealer, I'm using my NYX Bare With Me serum concealer, and this is another one where I just really love this product. It took me a while to get used to it because it felt like it wasn't full coverage, but I think pairing it with that color corrector really amps it up, and I love how easily this one blends out. So while this one sets in, I'm going to do my brows. I've been pretty consistent with the brow products that I use. I've been using the Kosas airbrow gel, and then to fill in, using the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. I'm not really picky when it comes to brow products as long as it gets the job done. But once my concealer has set in a little bit, I find that it gives it a little bit more coverage as well, rather than blending it out. So I just slowly work up to my under eyes, which need the most time in my opinion. And then whatever is remaining on my sponge, I'll just work into my crease to prep for my eyeshadow. I tried using color corrector on my eyelids, and I think my eyelids are just too oily that it doesn't really stick and it's just too much product. So I find that just that little tad of bit of concealer is enough for me. For blush, I'm using the Huda Beauty blush filter, and I adore these. I really wish I got a full size in this shade, because if you've been here before, you know that I hated the Rare Beauty one in Happy, which is like this really cool tone pink, which I thought would be suitable for me, but I'm really unsure about my undertones now. I'm starting to think I'm more like in the neutral, maybe light olive category, because some cool tone stuff just looks horrendous on me, like that blush. But this is the one that I was searching for, like what I had wanted out of this color of a blush, and it was in my collection the whole time. So I really advise that you do that. Just take a look, practice with different products, give them like a week of just using that same product. But I just love how easily this one blends and never looks patchy, and it's really buildable, and it also smells delicious. But I usually use a brush to make sure I get my pigment there, and then I'll blend out with a sponge. And then usually if I'm using like a brush for my concealer, I'll try and blend out a little bit and then back and forth with the sponge, the blush brush, and my concealer brush, just to like really get a nice diffused look, no sharp edges. And then I'm still using the Depotted Glossier highlighter that I have. I'm so happy that I did not put all of it in there, because it's starting to get really dry. Like there's still plenty in there, but it is like caked on there and it's quite thicker. It still works fine, so I'm just using what's in here now, but I'm happy that I put all of it in there. And then before I set my under eyes, I like to just tap it with my sponge one more time, just to, if there are any creases, to get it out, or any excess product. And then I'm using the pink e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. I've been really liking pairing this with like a really pink blush. I think it looks so pretty and really brightens up my eyes. So that's been my go-to lately, though I do want to try this look with a more translucent one to see if it gives the same or similar effect. Now for the eyes, I'm starting to think that the I Need a Nude palette by Natasha Denona is my all-time favorite. I kind of didn't want to admit that last year just because it seems so basic and it's kind of expensive, but the more and more I use it and the more I have it in my drawer and I like gravitate towards this one rather than others, it's really solidifying that I love this palette. I love the blendability, the diversity in the formulas there, especially those like wet look ones. One of the ones I'm wearing today is my absolute favorite. It looks so pretty and I just really like this palette. I've been keeping it pretty basic, but in the outer corner, just a tad bit of silhouette. I'm not much of a winged eyeliner person, but I do love to like smoke out a deep brown eyeshadow and kind of create like a faux wing. So that's kind of what I do for this, and I just blend it into my lash line. Then I kind of messed up, but I mixed up Tender and Mesh to put in the crease. I took a little bit too much of Tender, which is more of a cool toned brown, and it's just a little deeper and I was struggling to blend it. But once I mix those two together, it blends like a dream. And then to blend out the edges, I'm using Fair, which for me is a skin tone shade, but use whatever works for you. And then lastly, for the lid, I'm packing it with Sheen, which is that wet look formula. That one and Mia are stunning. I love them so much, but I usually use Mia rather than Sheen. And I've been liking how that one looks because then it's not too pink focused, because if I used Mia, it would just be all these different pinks that are different shades and different undertones. Whereas with Sheen, I feel like it just gives a little bit of smokiness to the eye, while the primary focus is still the pink. And then for mascara, I've been using the Clio Kill lash, the volume curling one, and this is the only mascara where my lashes will stay curled throughout the day. I don't know what it does. I've tried so many, and I always try to curl my lashes before to see if it's gonna hold. Most of the time, most mascaras don't hold it. So I'm very impressed by this one, and I really like the length it gives. But I wish it wasn't as clumpy. I have to like really warm it up for the whole makeup routine and then use it. Otherwise, there will be some clumps in there. But as long as I remember to do that, then I'm okay. And then lastly, for the lips, I've been loving this lip combo and I've literally been using it every day for like 2 weeks now. I really adore how this looks, and I think this is what started me wanting to create like this pink look, especially with the blush. I was really struggling, especially after finishing Happy, and I didn't think that I would jump right back on to a pink or like a light baby pink blush, but here we are. And for lip liner, I'm using the Huda Beauty Lip Contour Stain in baby pink. This one is not baby pink. Like the demo photos make it look like it's the color of the packaging. It's not. I've noticed that to get it as close to that as possible, just do one quick layer, though I do find it a little hard at first because it's not evenly dispensing. It does take like a few different like swatches for it to get going, I think. I don't know, sometimes it feels like it's not on there, but then I'll like turn my head and it's there. So kind of have to be careful with this one, but I like to just draw it on and then blend it out as I go. Yesterday I used my Benefit Benetint to replace this lip liner and it looks identical, so I really liked that look, and I've been loving like staining lip liner products lately, so I'm eager to keep this going in other shades. Lastly, I am topping it with the Dior Lip Addict Glow Balm. I love this one. This is an icy blue and I think it just really complements the lip liner. It becomes very bright. I think it's one of those peach ones, so it becomes like the standard pink, but I think it's really pretty, and I don't have any other peach balance ones, so I'm okay with this. Like, I can understand if someone had like 10 different peach ones, you could get really annoyed that they're all the same shade, but this is my only one and I think it's really fun and really pretty. I do wish I had like a lipstick or something more long wearing in this shade, because I find myself just retouching the lip balm. I mean, the lip liner stays of course, but I just end up retouching the lip balm, and I do wish maybe I had like a matte formula or just something more long wear. But here is the final look. I have been using this on repeat and I've just been having a lot of fun recreating the same look. Before I would kind of like do something different every single day, and while it's fun, it can definitely do some brain drain and it always isn't very compatible with everything you wear if you're experimenting with your looks every day. I've been really enjoying this one, and let me know if you enjoy it as much as I do.